Hello friends and welcome to Noclip episode 85. I have returned from Europe, but boy oh boy, I wish I was still there. I wish I was here with all of my Noclip crew friends because Gamescom is on in Germany. Let's go round the table and talk about the thing that we love the most about Germany. Jeremy, I think you're the only person who speaks German. What is your favorite German thing?
Ich liebe, Jesus, I don't know. Beer.
He loves Jesus. You heard it here first, folks.
Pilsner, like a good Kolsch or a nice Pilsner of some sort.
Excellent. Good early start. Jesse Garasha, who's been holding down the fort here for the past couple of weeks. Thank you, sir.
Of course.
What is your favorite German thing?
The word Biergarten. I think that is a fantastic word for a place you go and you get a couple drinks. It's great. Thank you for the language.
Beautiful. Go to the beer garden, pick up your kid at the kindergarten. Frank Howley, what is your favorite German thing?
It'd be a mistake, but my first association is Arnold Schwarzenegger, even though it's Austria. They're like neighbors, so Germany's neighbor, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people would say Hitler as well, but also an Austrian guy. So clearly they're doing a lot of importing Austrians. And I'm not agreeing with them, but a lot of people would say their favorite German thing is Hitler.
Good point.
I'm not. Hey, if you're one of those people, podcast or whatever. I forget what our email address is. It's been that long. It's been a weird summer here over in Noclip. At least it has for me. I was away for a while on a vacation, which was rad. Then I sort of went on the mandatory vacation you have to go on when you live away from your family, which is just going to visit them. So I did that. But in the middle of it, I also moved. I'm in Novato, California. I'm back close enough to Jeremy, who's a bit further north. And I've been spending all week here in the corner of this apartment. We're sort of in between houses, trying to get an office space here in the area, and then fill it with all of our favorite German things. Mine being pork knuckle, by the way.
That's not going to keep that long, dude. You can't keep that in the office for that long.
You can't. Well, you can't if I'm in the office. It doesn't last 10 minutes, mate. Fucking, it's a good thing I don't live in Germany. I'm unhealthy enough as it is. Gamescom is on, and we're going to talk about some of the shenanigans that have come out of that, out of Geoff Keighley's German Fest. Jeff, what would Geoff Keighley be in German? What would be a good, is there a Geoff equivalent in German?
I feel like Geoff with the G feels pretty German.
Geoff feels, pretty,
Geoff, and then Keilag.
Yeah.
No, nothing.
Keel what?
Kielbasa.
Kielbasa. Okay,
Geoff Kielbasa.
Yeah,
Something
I was
like
going to
that.
say
Sounds
Geoff,
delicious.
Spiel is play in German, so he could be like Kielspiel or something.
Ooh.
Could be the event,
Geoff Keighley, the Spielmeister.
Yeah, Geoff
Spielmeister. Yes.
Spiely.
Spielmeister.
That'll be his name in Death Stranding too. He's no more Homo Ludens. Now he's the Spielmeister.
Jeff Spielman.
Geoff Keighley's Spielgarten.
Yeah,
there we go.
Spielgarten. That's good.
Early episode name.
Yeah.
Summer of Games is over. Frank is almost delighted. We're only a week away from the end of
What
Summer
do you
of
mean?
Games.
What are you
It's just
talking
getting
about?
started.
Summer of
There's
Games
the-
never ends.
Dude,
The games are all coming out now. This is the peak of Summer Game Fest.
What the hell?
So I'm predicting I'm gonna Babe Ruth this, point my bat to the outfield, and say Summer of Games is gonna peak around December 6th.
Yeah.
I agree.
Oh my God.
You're 100% correct.
Yeah.
Is that the week that the Game Awards are on or something?
No.
Yeah, no, it's the 8th. Isn't
is
that
it?
the week?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't mean to do that. I'm just incredibly
You just
psychic.
knew. It was just, it was subconscious.
I just pulled that out of the air like a precog.
So do you think Geoff doing, because he's got Summer Games and then he has the Game Awards, and this Gamescom one is kind of near the end of what many people would consider summer. So is this his kind of Punxsutawney Phil moment where he pops up and says there's 2 more weeks of Summer of Games Fest?
I hope
Feels
he
like
extends it forever. I just hope it keeps going into next year, into next summer, and beyond.
I mean, it's always summer somewhere.
Yeah, so true, dude.
Kind of.
I mean, yeah, it depends how loose you're willing to get with that definition.
Yeah, exactly. If summer is 6 months, then yes, it's always summer
There's 2
somewhere.
hemispheres. As long as summer can go for 6 months, we're good.
Yeah, Game
goodness.
Awards in the winter should be held in Australia.
Yeah.
So
then
trash.
it'd surely be a Summer Games Fest in December.
You just see Geoff sitting on like a beach with like a cocktail and a big stupid hat, roasting a turkey. The way I assume all Australians do.
Of course,
Christmas.
big stupid hats and turkey.
As is tradition.
Yeah.
Yeah, the winter games fest he could do as well. He could lean into it.
Yeah, or they could every 2 years they could do the Winter Games Fest and trade off like the Olympics. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. So okay, why not stop there? We've got 2 of the 4 seasons covered. What does Spring Games
Spring
Fest
Games Fest? Yeah, it's about games about renewal. It's kind of like more wholesome, a little softer. Autumn
raining all
Games
the time.
Fest. Yeah, and then Autumn Games Fest is like kind of like a Jack Skellington vibe. You know, everything's dying, a little spooky. Horror games are coming out.
Plague
like
Tale comes out. Like
Yeah.
you've got like farming simulators come out in spring.
Yeah.
Yep.
Summer's just beach games, Dead Island.
It's only beach game. Yeah, you can only release a game themed based on the seasons.
That's the
Otherwise, you
future of
can't
gaming.
release a game.
Jeff
Yeah.
Keighley just like dictates what comes out each month.
Listen, there's too many games, and we need to split them up based on seasonal themes. Okay.
Well, a big theme with both Summer Games Fest and this conference are all the amount of games in space. And many people don't know this, but it's always summer in space.
Damn.
Boom.
Did-
It's that one.
Is that a Neil deGrasse Tyson?
I was going to
quote?
say. I was just going to say he's going to send us an email. I don't know how true. Actually,
Well, actually,
Howard.
Frank, it's never summer in space. Actually, because summer.
if you talked to Pluto would say it's always winter.
But you can't talk to it because it's not actually a planet. It counts as a comet.
Just shitting on every fantasy you have, every personification of nature you could ever imagine.
Exactly. Actually, if you put a frog in a boiling pot, it would jump out. Shut up, Neil.
No shit.
Turn the phrase. God damn it. It's always summer in Venus. Shout out to our Battle Pass holders who fund all this. Cody Krieger, Forrest Pruitt, Cameron Ladd, George Chakotis, Jacob Godserve Jacob, and Godserve Tohir Tiliev. All of you beautiful people. If you'd like to support this 100% ad-free podcast, except for this one-part fund our documentaries, and get access to a bunch of bonuses, including videos, bonus podcast episodes, and Discord access, you can do so over at patreon.com/noclip. I've been playing Cult of the Lamb. That's why I'm in this such a godly,
Yes.
and I know you guys talked about it a bunch last week. Sounds like everyone's into it. My only thing I want to say this week, Jeremy, have you played Cult of the Lamb? This is the most Jeremy-ass game I've ever played.
I have not played it yet, and I'm very excited to. It's part of what I want to talk about this week, but no, I have not played it yet.
Dude, it's like if I was a witch standing around a huge cauldron and I was trying to make a sort of a brew that would like make Jeremy return to life. He's not, in this fantasy, you're dead. I'm sorry. I would take like a splashing of roguelike, indie games, interesting art style, religion and theology, just like put it all into this big pot, and then. It was funny listening to the two of you guys talking about it last week, because it is kind of a tough game to kind of tell someone what it's like. It's like, is it Binding of Isaac meets Sacrifice, or there's like Hades bits in there, but it's not all the way that way, and it's not all the way
There's a fishing mini game. You're
It's
like, how do
just-
I bring that into the story?
It's just a cool version of Animal Crossing.
cool version.
kind of.
Yeah.
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 Nothing
It's
cooler than a
the-
cult.
Animal Crossing is kind of Blink 182, and this is more like Cradle of Filth. It's kind of a bit, and also the presentation on this thing is ridiculous.
Oh,
like
gorgeous.
the animation, the sound effects, like every little scene transition is just like artistically designed within an inch of its life. I've not played nearly as much as you guys. I'm still like, I literally started playing, I think it was last night. I was talking to Nigel over at Devolver about a bunch of stuff, and he was like, Cult of the Lamb has been like really good, and I was like, I heard it came out, and he was like, yeah, it's done really well, they're really excited, and I looked over at the Steam page and it had like 17,000 reviews.
Whoa.
I was like, Jesus, okay, this thing has, and it came out on everything at the same time. I think it was like Switch and Xbox and the whole shebang. So he was talking about it, I was like, and the guys we were talking about last week, I guess I should pick it up. And then I was playing until like 2:00 last night with that stupid what's it called? Knuckles?
Knuckles.
The
yeah.
dice
Knuckle Bones
game.
or whatever the hell.
Knuckle Bones.
Yeah.
Apparently that's a real dice game.
Oh,
Knuckle
really?
Bones. I think they played it with teeth.
That sounds like fun. Sounds better with the teeth.
That's a good vibe. I like
Yeah.
games
Higher
that use
stakes.
human body parts.
Hell yeah.
Big fan of that. Yeah, so I guess any more thoughts on that? Have you guys played much more since last week, or what's your kind of feeling on it?
I've kind of
because I'm all in.
I've kind of parked it a bit because I've hit a point now where I've had like a handful of bugs, and so I'm like, oh, I want to wait for another patch.
What are you playing on?
I'm playing on Xbox.
Okay,
I heard the Steam version is better. But yeah, I'll get a handful of like side quests from I almost called them hostages from cult members.
Kind of.
Yeah, and the UI will glitch out and won't tell me what I'm supposed to do for the objective. I'll go into another room and then I'll get locked between the two things, and my screen will start glitching. Like I'll show two screens at once, and I have to just reload my save. Sometimes I lose the run, and again, like. For full context, we've gushed about this game for like probably 2 hours straight. So it's like, this game is still phenomenal. But it's like at the point now where it's like, oh, I probably put like maybe 10 hours into this game. I fall in love with the fishing. So every few cycles, I go fish, and it's so satisfying to fish. So yeah, I think I'm just going to wait for another patch before I dive back in. But yeah, I absolutely love this game.
Yeah. I think I agree. I think I like it a lot. I have heard the issues with the console versions, which sucks because it seems like it's something that's kind of holding a lot of players back, Frank included, obviously. But so, hopefully they patch it out soon. I finished it before we recorded last week on the pod. It was really, really fun. I think I kind of hit the end of it, and I was emotionally done playing the game.
Right.
It's really fun. Like it was the whole way through, from start to finish. As soon as I hit credits, I was like, oh, that was fantastic. And then it was over, and I was kind of like, what's my motivation for continuing? Because I kind of already unlocked everything before I hit the final boss. So I'm like, why do I want to come back to it? I'm still thinking about that. I'll probably check it out later and try to keep decorating my my cult and make it look pretty for all my little hostages.
Yeah, I didn't want to change any of them. I was just like, I like remembering when I like fucked you up or found you or whatever it was. A couple of the devs, I was tweeting about it last night, just said it was a good game, and a couple of devs jumped into the replies, so we might end up doing something on that. Ooh. Could be a fun one. Kind of want to let Jeremy have a little play and see if he's interested.
I'll play it this week for sure.
This might be right down your street. Expense that shit, dude. I don't even know. What is it, $20?
Something like
$25?
If I can expense it, I'm on Steam right now, boys. Hold down the episode for me, because you might hear some clicking and clacking from my end.
The fucking deluxe edition. Is there even? There actually is. Weird. What else?
It's physical too. If you want to get one of those.
Cultist pack. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, it gives you some new outfits. If you pre-order the game, you can have a Cthulhu outfit for your characters.
It comes with a big punch bowl to serve your friends poison.
Ooh, yes. Kool-Aid.
And a bunch of solo cups. There's speaking of pre-order bonuses, have you seen the Return to Monkey Island pre-order bonus? Yeah, you get a horse armor.
No. What?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Like straight up. That's a joke from like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I love it. But again, it's a game from 30 years ago, so it kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
They give you horse armor a la the first ever sort of controversial DLC, which was the horse armor in the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, would you believe? So yeah, it is a inventory item that you will have throughout the game that does absolutely nothing.
Perfect.
So it seems pretty funny. That's coming out. I think that's on a bunch of consoles too. Cult of the Lamb, according to sort of Frank and also the general internet, it seems like I've been playing on PC, and also I've mostly been playing on Steam Deck actually, and it's run perfectly, no bugs or anything. The ports, I guess, I don't know. It could be a situation where the developer did one version and the rest of them were done by other studios in line with it, but it sounds like the ports are the ones that people are having bugs on. So Switch and Xbox and stuff. So keep your eyes peeled for patches and whatnot. Reviews seem to suggest that too. It's got really good reviews on Steam, but then lesser so. Sort of lots of 5s and 1s on console, which usually tells you there's something broken. Speaking of bugs...
Oh, please. I want to talk about this so bad.
Okay, so I had totally forgotten this was coming out. But a couple of days ago, Saints Row was released. Saints Row, a soft reboot of the, God, what do we say? Classic, retro, old.
I guess so. It's a classic. It was good.
Open world GTA up, which sort of started out as very much a Grand Theft Auto clone and sort of skewed into a much more ridiculous sort of subgenre, which got pretty popular. It came out and it hasn't gotten the best reviews, but a lot of it seems to be down to technical problems. This is another game I have played maybe the opening 3 hours of, so I can't really speak to it longer term. But Frank, I know you were very excited. This is very much a Frank game. What has your experience been with Saints Row since it came out earlier this week?
Yeah, this was my most anticipated game of the year. But yeah, I saw the morning of all the embargo. People were just saying like, "Oof, look out!" But I still went into it with high hopes. But yeah, as soon as I started playing it, it's my description has been it's okay. It's okay. I have hit I have hit a few bugs where I'll hit X or triangle to engage a mission or something, and my character will just T-pose. I did some co-op where we started a mission, and we were supposed to be in a car chase, but our car was just stuck and wasn't moving, and we couldn't go anywhere, so we had to reload the checkpoint. Even issues getting into co-op matches. So it's just like little bugs, but again, in my head, it's like, oh, that'll be smoothed out. The game world itself, I do like the color palette. It is poppy. It's colorful. It's severely underpopulated. I know it's supposed to be the desert, but even like Stillwater in the 2006 Xbox 360 version had so much more density and characters in the street. So it's just like, oh man, I don't know. I mean, I'll still play it, but yeah, it's a little disappointing. But the one saving grace is the character creator is really amazing. I made a really fat Joker cowboy, so anytime it pops up in the cutscenes, it's like, oh, this is funny. But the cutscenes themselves, like I don't care about the characters, the story. It feels very neutered. Saints Row was so like ridiculous and obscene and comic booky from the start that it doesn't have so much character. Gameplay-wise, open world collectibles, shooting stuff, the combat, like when you're actually shooting, it feels just like Saints Row. I like it. Driving around feels fine. But yeah, I'm also hoping the more I play, I'll get more perks or things to unlock, because I feel like halfway through every Saints Row game, it becomes completely broken, but that's what makes it so silly and fun. So I keep waiting to see if things will unlock or really get going, but I'm already like 20% through the game, and it still feels like I'm in a tutorial.
Yeah, am I the only other person who's played it then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so I think, yeah, I've never, it's one of those games where I'm really wanting to like it because I like Volition and I like the franchise, and I think it's a tricky game to kind of make a sequel to in some ways. And yeah, I'm waiting for something to hook me. I think the opening's not great. I'll say that. I don't think it puts its strongest foot forward. The character stuff, yeah, like the feeling I'm having almost across the board, like from the sort of comedy / writing to the gunplay to like even like the technically like how it looks and runs and everything, is that it feels kind of like a demake. Like it feels like a game they're making. Well, I'm not necessarily saying that in terms of it's just bad. It's that. I don't know if this is part of the design or not, but it feels like it's a throwback Xbox 360 open world game, which could work.
I was going to say, that sounds like it could be appealing.
Yeah, in the same way that like Bloodborne PSX, obviously on the sort of completely opposite end of the demake spectrum, where it's like really, going back much further, works, in that way, because it's like, whatever, it's deconstructing it or whatever. And maybe there's something to be said for going back and making that style of open world game, as opposed to something that's trying to, be more of a Red Dead or GTA or break the mold that way, or even Assassin's Creed, where it's just got 1,001 things on the screen. So, and I was kind of trying to like play it on those terms, like, oh, I'm just imagining I'm playing a game from like the Xbox 360 era again. But even then, even with that caveat just in my head, I couldn't, it's not late, sunk. And similar to you, Frank, I'm waiting for it to grab. I'm like hoping like around the corner it's going to grab me because I really want it to. And hearing you saying that like 20% of the way through and that you're still waiting makes me feel quite pessimistic.
Yeah. I will say one funny thing is like I kind of like doing the open world missions a lot, which is just hunt down this guy or, you do these open world killing challenges. Anytime I'm in a story mission, I kind of like, I get bummed because a lot of times it will glitch out or that you have to bear through these like boring cutscenes. Open world stuff feels like exactly like, peak 360 Saints Row of just driving around, crashing around into stuff. Like the physics are kind of weird with driving. I don't know if it's a bug or not, but every once in a while I'll be driving and my car will just shoot like across the air or things will clip weirdly, but it's kind of funny in the same way playing Cyberpunk in its opening era was kind of funny. But yeah, it is a little better in co-op because then you also get to see your friends' costumes or outfits. But yeah, it's just
how's the insurance fraud stuff?
Haven't gotten that far yet, so I want to try more. I want to try more of the challenges. I will say like the wingsuit stuff is neat. I mean, Yeah, but even even that, I feel like I have bugs so many times. Yeah, I feel like I want to play more, and I'm sure I'll have more unique bugs, but hopefully I'll have even more unique things to say.
Another game that a bunch of us have been playing, which it does not seem buggy for me at all, and hopefully isn't for Jesse, is Cursed to Golf.
Oh.
A game about golfing
Yes.
in 2D, and also it's a roguelike, and it's actually wait a second, it's a really hard roguelike. Oh my god, this is hardcore golf game. What the fuck's going on? Came out August 18th. It's from Chuhai Labs, based in Japan. One of the developers on it is a guy I used to work with, who was a intern at GameSpot UK when I was there.
That's so cool.
A guy called Liam Edwards. Yeah, lovely chap. He ended up leaving games journalism, or maybe he just spent a couple of weeks working with me and was like, fuck this. He went and worked at Rockstar in QA for a while, and then he's been living in Japan and working as a dev for a while. But this is kind of, I think, the first project he's been sort of like one of the leads on, which is pretty cool. Cursed to Golf, Jesse. What is your familiarity with the golf subgenre of video game, and how are you enjoying this cursed game?
Yeah, I mean, playing golf games, not exactly anything I like doing. What's that one, Hot Shots Golf or whatever, the anime one that's like over the top. Ooh. I played a little bit of that and Wii Sports Golf, and I think that's it. Theoretically, I like the idea of golf. I was really into it when I was a kid because my uncle used to watch it a lot, and that was how we connected. My cousin was like, "You have a swing just like Tiger Woods," and I was like, "You're just saying that because I'm a little dark." But we would play and we would have fun with that and whatever. But like mini golf, that's a good time. I like playing golf with your friends. But this one, you're right in saying that Cursed to Golf is incredibly hard. It is so much harder than I thought it would be because it sets itself up like you're doing. It's almost like a golf platformer where you can only move by like setting a trajectory for an item. It's very strange, but like once you get into it and you learn the mechanics and you learn how to do the spin stuff, which is like a sort of advanced mechanic where you can control the direction that the ball spins after it lands. Once you get all that stuff down, it feels really good. It's a surprisingly enjoyable game with really good music, really great animations. Yeah, I've had a fun time playing it. I've only played the first 2 or 3 hours, but I really like the structure of it, and I think it's something I could see myself playing for up to 10, 15 hours or even coming back to it after I finish
nice.
it. So it's good praise.
Yeah, it's under $20. I think it's on sale at the moment as well. As most kind of games, their first week are to get that sort of critical, get all the eyeballs on it. Yeah, you explained it very well. Golf platformer kind of sums it up. It's like 2D. You start at the start of a hole, and you have a certain amount of strokes available to you. I think it's 5 you start with. And every time you hit the ball, that goes down, but you can collect strokes by like hitting these totems that are in the levels. Usually you are sort of like the levels that you're playing on are sort of like digging into the ground almost, like you're going layer by layer down, trying to like get the ball into like little shortcuts or blowing up these little TNT areas that create shortcuts. There's a bunch of cards you can use to give you special abilities, like the ball is a rocket now, or like, hey, we'll have the ball split into 3 balls and then you can pick which was the best one you liked. But in terms of like golf, I think it does a good job of being restrained. You know, there's only one, there's one type of ball. There are 3 clubs. There's like a wedge, an iron, and a driver, and that's it. As Jesse said, there's like a mechanic they reveal after a little while about the spinning, which definitely sort of helps to, take the edge off some bad shots, or maybe, make a good shot even greater. Just give it that little bit more. And yeah, you play through, a bunch of holes. There's 4 worlds. It's like a roguelike sort of, what would you call it, structure thing where your first boss is like in the grassy area, and then there's like a sand duney area or whatever. And it looks like, I'd say each hole is easy, but like you basically have to do a lot of work in the early holes to like not waste your cards and to like make sure you have enough for the later parts, because it's kind of, it's hard to explain, but like the balance I've experienced, Jesse, I'm not sure if this is for you, is that like, I'm not stressed playing the game. It's a very chill game to play, but everything can go wrong very quickly if you're not paying attention. Yeah,
the structure of it, like the roguelike elements, make it so that you kind of have to be a little conservative with your cards. Yeah, early on, but even as you get a little further down the line. So you are very much supposed to kind of plan your shots and figure out where you're going kind of early on. There's usually 2 or more flags per hole that you're doing. So you can go, what route do I want to go based on the cards that I have? You might have stuff that makes it easier to blow up TNT remotely, so you can create an easier path without needing to waste a shot to open it first. Or, you might have more stuff that lets you like blow stuff up or make a rocket or like add to your par so you don't lose your strokes, so you don't run out of strokes. And then you can, just like order the paths differently. But like you said, if you mess up like pretty early on, or you just like ever so slightly hit the corner of something and just your ball goes in a completely different direction, you're like, well, I wish I activated my stop card before I started the shot. But it's a lot of fun. Like I never feel like I'm having a bad time, or even if I make a mistake further down the line, I'm still not like, oh, it's the end of the world, because they usually have enough ace cards that you can like add to your par or add to whatever.
Yes.
Like there's tons of tools, and the spin mechanic, like there's tons of tools that you can use that make the game easier to play and make it feel less, I don't know, like it's kicking your ass when you're making mistakes. You feel like you're getting better at it a lot too. It's a lot of fun after the first 2-3 hours. I'm excited to play more for sure.
Yeah, like you sort of can pick up gold during the or whatever the money is during your run, and you'll find shops on the way, and they might sell cards that like you said, give you an extra stroke or whatever it is. So yeah, there's kind of like ways to mitigate it. And yeah, I think golf games for me, like I'm not big on the sort of Tiger Woods style EA golf game, that type of game. But like sensible golf, I would have played a lot as a kid. Desert golfing is like my number 1 most played game on my iPhone. I like playing like Everybody's Golf, those types of ones. Golf for Work groups that Alex Austin made, I'm a fan of. So they're kind of like, to me, sometimes they're kind of like good, like chill games or kind of like brainless games or whatever. And what I like about this is that I have the same sort of chill feel, but also it's kind of like, any game that's like fairly challenging, like the way we talk about Soulsborne games or whatever, where like it's fine until you stop paying attention and then you get hurt. So you kind of just have to have your wits about you,
Much like real golf.
Exactly. Much like real golf. You'll just end up in the sand trap. It is out now. It is, on Steam, and I think it's on Switch.
I think so.
I think it's on Switch. Yeah, I think it's on Switch. It's on Steam Deck. Works really good on Steam Deck too. At the box. Check out Curse to Golf. We are just fucking flooded in new games here. So Jeremy, apologies. I know you've got some stuff you want to talk about, but we got one more game to get through before we can chinwag with you about Xenogears.
About games from 1997.
Hey, look, man. Maybe we'll do like order modified reverse next time, and then we'll be able to cover your stuff first. But another game coming out of a small indie team, somewhat based in the UK or with British people, Rollerdrome from Roll7 came out. These are the Ollie people. They worked on this game, Rollerdrome, which is somewhere between a roller skating game and Quake 3 Arena. It is also available on Steam currently for 30% off, under $20. So a lot of great games. Pretty on the cheap. It's also on consoles. I've been playing it on PS5, I think. Who has played Rollerdrome? Looks like all 3 of us at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Frank, you want to go first on this one?
Yeah. This game kind of came out of nowhere for me. I feel like I saw a trailer of it somewhere this year, probably at Games Fest. I was immediately sold on the concept, forgot about it. It came out, immediately downloaded it. The first thing that always strikes me with games is its art style. But Rollerdrome is... yeah, it kind of feels like, Tony Hawk 3 in the Unreal Tournament or an arena shooter. Or even more specifically, like Jet Set Radio and Max Payne, where it has this beautiful, this like beautiful Sega ass, like cell shaded art style, very comic booky 70s. It is delicious, almost kind of aesthetically color palette similar to Deathloop. That 70s neat, like weird retro sci-fi future stuff. It is kind of overwhelming at first because there's so many mechanics you have to keep track of. The premise of the game is you're in a skating death match, and you have to kill bad guys that pop up, but in order to reload, you have to perform sick tricks. So it becomes a game of maintaining your combo so you can also get the high score, kill all the bad guys, keep doing sick tricks, and then it hits that Tony Hawk loop where you finish a run and it's like, well, let me get the 5 secret collectibles. Let me do this very specific trick. And then I'm playing it, I'm like, oh, this is Tony Hawk. They nailed the gameplay loop of it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Jesse, yeah, what are you feeling?
I mean, yeah, no, I agree with Frank 100%. When I kind of went over it last week in the pod where I was explaining the premise and I played the tutorial a little bit and I was like, yeah, this is really cool. I went in and I played the first level and just did it for like an hour straight, just trying to get to the top of the league. I'm like number 300 or something on that one now, globally. Not trying to brag again. It's me, leaderboard game. I'm become a leaderboard degenerate in 2022. I can't stop. But it is so much fun. Rollerdrome is like, Tony Hawk, Max Payne, Jet Set Radio, Max Payne, whatever you want to call it. Slow-mo shooting while you're doing a backflip over a bunch of missiles coming towards you. This is the game for you. It's got that Mobius art style that I think we talked about a little while ago. Mo, not more. And it's gorgeous. It's fun. The music's bumping and thumping. I love pretty much everything Roll7 has put out that's in this sort of like action sports genre, specifically the Ollie Ollie games. Ollie Ollie World came out a little earlier this year, and that was a lot of fun. Played the crap out of that. I love doing the tricks. I think something that they nail in their games, and this is something that's in Ollie Ollie, it's something that's in Rollerdrome as well, is like this game could have very easily been a situation where you just keep repeating the same tricks over and over again because you do have to shoot at stuff. Like Frank said, there's so many mechanics you have to keep track of. What are you shooting? What are you dodging? What tricks are you pulling off to make sure that you have enough ammo? So there's like a bunch of stuff you have to juggle at the same time. And it could have fallen into this trap where you just keep performing the same grinds and the same grabs and the same flips and whatever. But because it's detrimental to your score to do that, they encourage you to memorize more button inputs so that you can do different grabs, you can do different tricks. And this is something that's been central to all of their games is they offer challenges for each level. So like kill enemies in this certain way, use a shotgun and like time your shot perfectly so that you activate a slug shot, which means you have to watch the timing on that and you have to dodge the attacks coming. And like, there's just so many things going on. But by creating an incentive for the player to do different things instead of doing the same thing over and over again, it opens up so many opportunities. It is so much fun to play. It is just the most exhilarating thing I've played in the last like 6 months. It's so much fun. I love it.
Good stuff. Damn, highly recommended. I'm still warming into it. I've really enjoyed it so far. Like you guys are saying, it kind of has that Tony Hawk itch scratch. One of the things I'm kind of interested about, and maybe we shouldn't talk about it, is the story seems to be like it might be quite interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are these like first person segments that you play out in between levels, and it seems like there's maybe going to be some stuff going on there. So it's like layered as well. It's not just not just the action. I will say it's taken me a little bit of time to just get used to how many people you murder. You know what I mean? Like it's like if there was something that was like, oh, these aren't real people, they're robots, or like if they're respawning somewhere else or whatever, Unreal Tournament style, they're getting cloned instantly. That'd be something. But it's like you're just like murdering like 40 people in a level. Considering it's like a sport, it seems like, well, okay, all right, that seems a bit intense. Like in your first your first pro-am out there, you kill 40 people. It seems like quite a lot.
That's what I love, that extreme like 70s British like Judge Dredd humor. It's just like, it's so excessive. Like it's awesome. Yeah.
Like the cost of life is so little in this future.
It's for entertainment.
Yeah, I want a version of Rollerdrome where the bodies are just straight on the thing. Like after you kill someone, the corpse just sits there and you're like skating past it on your rollerblades. You're like, oh my goodness, what am I doing? like Hotline Miami or something.
Speaking of games from the 70s, Jeremy, tell us about Xenogears.
Well, 70s.
When I was a boy, back in the day, when your grandfather was young. This is the final update on Xenogears. I've talked about it a few times on the pod. It is a Squaresoft game from 1998. It's a JRPG. Came out 1 year after Final Fantasy VII from the same studio. And it's fucking awesome. I'm just about done with it. I am on the final battle. I will not spoil any of the story in this, but it blossoms into a basically like a grand narrative about Christofascism and religion. And it's fucking it is, I don't use this word lightly or often, but I would dare to call it based, as the kids are saying. It is fucking cool.
Jeremy has become Xeno-Pilled.
Based and Xeno-Pilled. But it got me thinking a lot, and also this kind of ties into Cult of the Lamb, which I haven't played yet, but have been thinking about in this light, and will be interested to get into once I'm wrapped on this 90-hour odyssey of games as counterculture, because I feel like other mediums, there's like more prominent examples of counterculture. I can think of like a lot of musical acts or movies or graphic novels or like whatever that are explicitly trying to kind of go against. I'm trying not to use the word mainstream, but like mainstream sentiment. The idea of counterculture. So counterculture is a term that was coined in the 60s, attributed to a couple different people. It's kind of unclear who came up with it, but the original term was contraculture. And it was to define a cultural output that was, or like a cultural sort of like subgroup or output, creative output that was in direct opposition to kind of like the prevailing cultural sentiments of the age. So examples of that might be things like anti-capitalism or pushing back against sort of like political norms. But not all counterculture is positive or utopian. It could also be things like Charles Manson is probably, to get back to the cult stuff, is probably an example of counterculture. Or like, I think you could make the argument that in an era where like acceptance of different types of people is becoming more the prevailing sentiment, which is a very obvious positive thing, there are some people who are pushing hateful or bigoted beliefs, and in a way that could be seen as counterculture. So counterculture is not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. It is just a thing. But I was interested if you guys could think of any games that were countercultural. I put out the call on Twitter to ask people some of their some games that they consider counterculture, and some examples that I came up with and that they came up with are Disco Elysium. I think is a very good one, because I think it's like subverting a lot of political norms and kind of getting you to think about that stuff.
Is that counterculture though? Because it's like, I would say in America 20 years ago, maybe that would be counterculture, but it seems like, those ideas are certainly not countercultural in Europe. You know what I mean? They're like common political thoughts and beliefs, and some are exercised more than others.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that it is countercultural in the sense that not only does it extol kind of like the virtues and appeals of different ends of the political spectrum, whether that's like, I think it gives insight into why someone may become a fascist or reject fascism overtly, and conversely, it also gives people insight into why communism may appeal to people, but also why it's kind of like it can be an ideology fueled in idealism and naivete. So I think that, and also in the center, there's kind of there's like the kind of like neoliberal PMC organization who are roundly criticized throughout the whole thing. So I don't know. I think that's countercultural. I think that like pushing it's pushing back against things as much as it's exploring them. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, like there's not a lot of like. The Communist Party in Europe isn't super strong, so I'd say like both exploring and kind of like criticizing it is countercultural now.
That's the hard thing with counterculture, right? Like culture is not, like Danny was saying, it's not centralized to like a singular place. There is no global culture. So like, what we see in America is going to be different from what we see in like Venezuela or
well, for sure. And like, that's the thing I was thinking about with Cult of the Lamb is like, Christianity is kind of like no longer the prevailing dominant culture or like cultural, whatever, like core of America, but it still
maybe
has
for
such
you, it's not.
Well, no, that's what I was going to say is like, it still has such a grip on a subsection of the population that to overtly like mock Christianity as kind of like the core ethos of your game feels countercultural, even if that's not the prevailing mainstream culture. I think most people are not hardcore Christians or would probably not be offended by it. So I don't know. I think counterculture is a malleable term, but I don't know. I think it's something interesting to explore, because I think games in general, because they're like fun and interactive and toy-like, I think they can kind of like bypass your psychological defenses in a weird way, where if you're watching a movie and it's like proselytizing to you about some sort of like cultural or philosophical or political idea, you may be less open to it than if you're like playing a fun game that invites you into this interactive feedback loop and then posits sort of ideas within that.
Did you get any other tweets?
Oh, like good examples of it?
Yeah.
Norca was on there, which I still have to play. Jesse.
Yeah, I've played enough of that I could say like, it's definitely very counterculturally relevant for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, let's pull up the old list. Yeah.
That's all right. Yeah, if anything pops out, let me know. But I feel like it's funny because I feel like there are reasons why games don't fit this particularly well in many ways. Because like games, like I hear what you're saying that like the best case scenario would be a game that could do it because it might be able to, you know, affect you in a way because of its interactability in a way that like, you know, linear media doesn't or whatever. But also games are so much less about story than they are about so many other aspects of it, whereas movies are so much more, not all about story, but like so much more about story, and obviously books then are so much more about story. And I feel like if you're like exposing people to different thoughts and themes and ideas, story is often the sort of the soup that sort of you feed them.
Yeah,
it via.
I guess personally, I'm more interested in games that are more story centric. Like, I think like Night in the Woods is a good example of something like Metal Gear Solid 2, where they are obviously interactive experiences with fun gameplay and kind of like create these interactive worlds for you to explore. But ultimately, like the core experience that I look back on in those games is the deliver. It's like a mechanism that delivers like narrative to me. But yeah, no, I think that like games can probably be divided into kind of like a blurry spectrum between things that are like purely toy-like that have no kind of narrative information within them, and then on the other end, games that are like, you know, like some like Xenogears. Basically, I'm kind of sick of the combat system at this point after 80 hours of it, but the story is so compelling that that's basically what I'm playing for.
Man.
It's keeping you there.
Ugh, yeah. I need to play more counterculture games. I'm playing too many established Democrat video games.
Playing too much Spider-Man, where he's teaming up with the cops, dude.
Oh man,
get me off these Zeitgeist games.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
it's ridiculous.
I feel like one game that must be raised if you're speaking about counterculture is VR chat. Because I feel like that is where the counterculture is. That's where people go to kind of, I mean, especially during the pandemic. But like, it's a free game, so you're not buying games, you're not buying any DLC. You're kind of rejecting the rest of video games as a medium because it's a place to go to just hang out. And like in there, you can reject your own like physical forms, your own identity. You can try on different identities, different like genders, forms, or whatever. Like so many of the servers in VR chats are people sitting in clubs, like as furries, cat boys, cat girls, interacting in like, it is also surreal, chaotic, but it's also just, it feels like that's where everyone is, and just kind of, it's also like a checkout culture. It's, we're just here, I don't care what else is going on, and it's like so intimate and bizarre, and it's
much like Second Life. It's sort of a tool for that type of interactivity. But I think that's very telling, is that like, that is a really good example, and it's also like barely a game. Like VR chat is a chat client, you know what I mean? As opposed to, you know, something with an interactability or something like that. But yeah, that's a great example. What's the name of that YouTube channel where he just interviews people in VR chat? It's so good.
Yeah. It rings a bell. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, VR chat's a great example though. Yeah, because it's like being able to transcend kind of like your physical born identity in a way is very like transhumanist and interesting.
Identity.
And I also just love when people just love when people just have complete disregard for like copyright or any intellectual property, because the fact that you can, you know, just get a group of Counter-Strike terrorists to just ride roller coasters at Disneyland is so absurd. But it's led to the best
did
visuals.
I just do mushrooms? What did you just say?
No, that is what VR chat is like. Yeah.
Oh my God.
You can spawn giant jokers outside of a Taco Bell as a Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong are yelling at you to shut up. And then someone drops a portal to a world where you can jump on an anime girl's giant breasts.
Okay. You've just explained now why it's not counterculture.
No. Trust me, this is where the people are.
Trust me, Rick and Morty farting in VR chat is counterculture, all right?
No, well that's interesting though. That brings up an interesting point though, which is like what makes VR chat in its like recontextualization of pop culture figures countercultural, where like something like Fortnite is overtly not countercultural. And I think it's because you can like take these well-established characters and put them into context that like destroys or subverts their identity in some way. Although Goku with a assault rifle is somewhat just going against the grain, I'd say as well.
It depends where parts of America where that's the culture, man.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Goku is actually just becoming more and more American.
Go to New York, it's just the real Goku.
He's just getting a slice.
Yeah. So we were just talking about Fortnite there briefly, and last week Frank was just gushing about Goku, last name, chilling inside of the video game Fortnite. I had never played Fortnite for more than like 5 seconds. I was not interested in playing it at all. I accept the culture, speaking of culture, of how popular and important it is for younger children and some people that are not young children, which is fine. I mean,
Babies.
it's fun. Babies, gamers.
Big baby gamers can't play real games.
Exactly. Play real games like Disco Elysium. Come read a book with me. But I decided to check it out because all my friends were playing it, and Frank made it sound like it was actually a lot of fun. You know what? Fortnite is a really good game. I feel like a jackass. I apologize to everyone that I've ever insulted. Fortnite is my favorite BR. I'm fully Fortnite-Pilled. Battle Royale. It is.
Oh God. How dare you, sir?
Yeah. I apologize. I'm so sorry. It's so much fun though. I haven't bought any skins. I'm still playing default skin. I'm doing default dance. I'm not spending money on that game. But it is, it's so much fun. It's hilarious. It's exciting. The only reason I think I'm able to get into it is because it has that no build mode where you don't have to do any of the building. Because it is a little intimidating to get into a new battle royale where you have to learn.
Are you playing Fortnite then? Are you really playing Fortnite?
I'm really playing Fortnite.
Like,
I'm not joking. This is 100% a not sarcastic meme.
No,
you're saying
is,
are you really playing Fortnite if you're not doing the build mode?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, so it still has porta-forts and stuff. So like there's still elements of that in Fortnite. I guess that's a good point though.
It's okay. Yeah, I don't know. Like to me, I don't know. Like the part of that game that makes it like weird or different is that is the building stuff.
But I think the culture of Fortnite is the thing too. Like being able to participate in that kind of element of it. Of like obviously I'm not buying the skins, but I'm playing with people who are. I'm playing with people who are doing the challenges and the updates, and they're excited for Destiny 2 and stuff. So I'm engaging with that element of Fortnite, which I feel is still very important to the base of the game, just because I'm not doing the building part of it, which I never would have engaged with any other part of Fortnite were it not for the building being an option and not a necessity now. So I'm glad I'm able to participate in that element of it. But in terms of playing Fortnite, that part doesn't appeal to me still. I'm not going to do it. But you do have a good point.
But then playing the other one didn't appeal to you either.
Playing the other what, sorry?
So playing the non, like it's fairly, it's not a particularly dangerous thing to say that Fortnite is a good game. Right? It's like one of the most popular games in the world and has been for a while, right? So, but you didn't want to play it for whatever reason, right? We all have our own preferences. So if you didn't want to play it because you didn't want to do the which I am right there with you. The thing that I also have sort of balked from spending much time with Fortnite is trying to get good at the building stuff. But considering like maybe you would like the building because now you've just learned that you liked Fortnite. So maybe the building is like actually the special sauce that Jesse needs to get fully into.
Maybe become fully Fortnite-Pilled. Take two.
Exactly.
Because you can do really advanced strategies. Like the best thing is when one of your teammates dies, you build a wall around them and to revive them. Also, again, if you get shot, the second, all you do is you crank 90s and you build a really massive tower, and then you can put a shield, and then you build in the other direction to get away, or you build to get the higher ground and then snipe them. So it's like that's the next level.
What's crank 90s?
Crank 90s.
Turning really fast?
It's crank 90s is where you're building and you're turning around because you're building the walls left to right and you're jumping up and down. So it's like, it's just, you see people, you'll spin around and just build a tower, and that's cranking 90s is to that's just what it's called. That's like a defense
sounds like
mechanism.
drug slang.
Yeah.
It sounds like doing drugs. It sounds like taking a 90 milligram pill.
Let's go to Tomato Town and crank 90 in the bathrooms. Hell yeah. Oh yeah. Give me that chug jug.
And then once you know how to crank 90s, then you know how to do edits, and then you can because when you do edits is you can modify your buildings. You can also build little escape portholes, or you can build portholes to shoot out of. It's amazing.
Damn.
Okay.
Damn.
I might have to do it.
Love to hear it. That's pretty good. Fortnite, baby. All right. You've inspired me, Jesse. I'm going to try.
Give it a try. Give it a shot
before we talk next. We'll see how we go. See if I can crank some 90s.
Dude, and you can do the Kamehameha. You can get on the Nimbus Cloud right now. Get in there before it goes away.
What's the Nimbus Cloud?
Oh, it's the thing that Goku rides on.
The thing Goku rides on.
Yeah.
Okay, really? God, that shows you how out of touch I've been this entire time. We've got a couple of emails to get to. We'll have to get through them pretty quick because I am recording in my apartment, and my kid and wife are going to come back in a second and start screaming while we're in between studios here. Beforehand, just a quick note on Gamescom stuff. Was there anything that stood out to people? I know that weird Pinocchio Bloodborne game, Life of P, is what a lot of people are talking about. Anything else that stood out to you, Jesse?
Yeah, Dead Island 2 finally looks like fun. I love killing zombies and making them explode, especially in Los Angeles. Woohoo!
Oh, is that where it is? That's not an island.
Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome to Hell A is the tagline for the game.
Is it? What's that island that's off the coast again? What's it called,
Catalina?
Frank? Catalina. Yeah. If it was on Catalina Island, that'd be all right.
Is that where the wine mixer is?
That is where the famous Catalina wine mixer is.
Oh, really? What's the wine mixer?
It's a potentially real event in real life, but is also a story beat from the movie Step Brothers.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry,
okay.
deep cut.
Okay. Nice. All right. So it's like the Pismo Beach disaster in whatever, Legally Blonde or whatever. I forget which movie it was. Cool. Love it. Hideo Kojima has a podcast coming to Spotify as well. That's all the news out of Germany.
That was the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Still wish I was there. Let's take. We'll come back to some of these emails just because I am running a little bit low on time here. Sorry, lads. Let's jump into the early access recommendations. You're asking people for recs on good games that are hitting early access.
Yeah, this was a Frank thing of like, we got to adopt an early access game. I've been looking for something to pick up and stick to. There's one called Frontier something or other that I saw on the homepage that looks kind of interesting. I kind of want to check it out, but we got some emails from people that were giving us suggestions on ones to check out, which look good.
All right. Who wants to, Jesse, you want to take some of these then?
Sure, yeah. First one from Sneefin. Sorry if I got that wrong. There's an RTS game on Steam called The Fertile Crescent that is good but sort of undiscovered. It's set in the Bronze Age and is a callback to Age of Empires, I think, AoE, right? Yeah, in those games, but a bit easier to play. They had a long stint on itch before they made it to Steam, and it's had online multiplayer for years. I checked out the Steam page for this one. You could immediately, you look at the screenshots, you can hear the Wololo. You can hear it.
Oh, hell
Yeah. This is like, it's a bit more like Pharaoh, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say it looks like Pharaoh. There's something about the building style that reminds me. Pharaoh was such a good game. It was such a strange game.
Pharaoh is one of my wife's favorite games. I got it running on one of our local PCs through a GOG version, but there is a remaster of Pharaoh currently in development called Pharaoh A New Era. Which is being made by, I think it's .emu are publishing it, so maybe it's a French studio or something. So it's basically an HD remaster of Pharaoh.
Very
cool. And if you've never played Pharaoh before, it is Age of Empires, but in Egypt.
but it's different because it way downplayed. Like the combat is so de-emphasized, and it's all about like worshiping the gods and making grain. I bought it at a Scholastic book fair as a child at my elementary school.
Throwback.
Yeah, hell yeah. You guys want me to read our next email from Ryan? Ryan writes, simple answer on early access games, Vampire Survivors. Polished enough to enjoy now, but has a lot of room to roll out new features. Very excited to see how this game evolves. Bonus, it's on Game Pass now. Absolutely destroyed my life for a solid week in the best kind of way. You guys have played some Vampire Survivors. I have not gotten into it.
Yeah, just a smidgen. It's, I think it's really cool. It's something that just it scratches your brain. It's got that little increment of damage. It lasts longer. How long can I last? It's fun. I played more of another one called Spirit Hunters Infinite Horde. That one is the same kind of idea where you're basically, what do they call them? Reverse bullet hells.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Spirit Hunters is a more graphically advanced version of Vampire Survivors. Not to knock Vampire Survivors, it looks like it's a fun kind of flash game, but this one's going for a more sort of like structured visual style Spirit Hunters. This is probably the one I'm playing. That's the early access fun thing to do. But I love the style of it. I love the idea of this kind of genre of games. It's a great way. It's a great thing to do when you just want to waste 20 minutes while you're reviewing a podcast that you're editing and listening to.
Trying to edit all the parts where the host mysteriously dropped off the internet for.
There we go. He's back.
Yeah, no reason at all. I'm still on wireless here. I have a long Ethernet cable arriving tomorrow. Oh boy, help. I feel you know what I'm becoming a real good big fan of is the $5 Steam game.
Yeah,
nice. Just like just try it out. Like, who cares? Like, if it's bad, it's like a bad sandwich. Don't go back to that.
What was
deli.
that one
It's
earlier
fine.
this year? Nightmare of Decay, right?
Yeah,
that was a
awesome
great
little game.
Yeah,
like,
or Iron Lung is another good example. I think it was $6.
I gotta check that
So,
out,
and I think Vampire Survivors like $3 or
Something
something.
like that,
It's
yeah.
just like
yeah. Dude, I think that's a good like business model, but also like a good thing as a consumer. I really like a game at that price point because it's like I'm not going to return a game that's $4.99 even if I play it for an hour and a half, because it's like you said, it's like a sandwich. Like going to a movie at the movie theater is 3-4 times that cost and it lasts 2 hours.
I also love the economics of it, especially as we're jonesing to put out our own game in the next couple of weeks on early access for probably about $3 is also like Steam obviously takes like 30%, right? So if you're selling a game for like $30, then they take 10. Whereas if you're selling the game for $3, they just take $1. Like that's it. So it doesn't sting as bad, you know. I'm not sure if that's good accounting, but you know, whatever. It's makes me feel a little bit better about it. Any other early access recommendations, gents?
Yeah, did you find one yet, Frank? Did you find anything that sticks out to you?
No, nothing yet. I can't stop playing older games.
Yeah.
There's a new game I'm hooked on called Injustice 2. Oh my god, it's so sick.
Nice.
The fighting game?
Dude, yeah, so
Yeah, it's the best, yeah. That's good stuff. It's okay. Well, hold that thought. We'll do an Injustice 2 chat next week. Maybe
I guess I will say Multiverses. I have fully jumped in on the $40 tier. I'm all in, so I do like that.
Damn,
I'll count that
right.
as early access because it's season 1.
Good point.
Oh yeah, is that out?
It is. It's been out for a while, yeah.
It is.
Dude.
Jesse kind of sold me on it. I played so much in the last week. That game is surprisingly great. I mained Batman and Taz and Bugs Bunny. Those are my 3 so far. It's super good.
I have to play that, and I have to play Rumbleverse, which also came out. So there's a lot
Rumbleverse,
coming
yeah.
out. Fucking, what happened to these sleepy summers, man? There's some games
Summer
coming out
gaming.
all over the place.
Summer of gaming,
Summer
dude.
games. Check out our latest video on the Summer of Gaming, our Weird West developer breakdown over on Noclip Crew. It's youtube.com/Noclip Crew video. And if you'd like to support this podcast, fund our documentaries, get access to all our bonus episodes, the official Discord, and a lock of Frank's hair, you can do so over at patreon.com/Noclip. We're at Noclip Video on Twitter, at Danny O'Dwyer, at Frank Keighley, at Garasha, at Jeremy B. Jane. Watch the docs online. Listen to the podcast wherever you want. And just stay healthy out there and put on your sun cream. Keep putting it on 12 months of the year. Summer of games never ends. Gentlemen, what are you doing for the rest of your day or week? What are you playing? Jesse, you go first.
Sure. I'm catching up on some indie games. I need to stop buying them and maybe finish a couple. But outside of that, I have the Fan Expo this weekend on Saturday. I'm going to go there and I'm going to cosplay as Frank Keighley and take some pictures of merchandise and funny things going on in Toronto, Canada. If you're there, don't bother me. But it'll be fun to be there and see you. You can wave. If you have Noclip merch, come on up. If you know what I look like, you follow me on Twitter. I'll take your picture. That'll be great.
I love it. Yeah, terrific. Jeremy, what about yourself?
I am going to finish Xenogears tonight. Finally, the saga comes to a close, and we'll see how. Finally, I'll be free of spoilers, so I can watch video essays about it. And go watch Jane Dev episode 2. It came out a week ago.
Yes,
and I think it's a goodie. I've been getting some very nice comments from people and messages and things, and I think it is an interesting kind of like. Different view on the devlog. It's a little less productive and a little more introspective. So check it out.
Yeah, enjoying it a lot. It's we're the whole idea of getting in the office as well is we can start doing a lot more crew stuff a lot more regularly, especially stuff that doesn't require quite as much post production. It's great to see Jane Dev ticking along. We have a couple of things that have their series now because we've got 2 or 3 videos in each one. So. Exciting times. Frank, what's the rest of your week look like?
Just catching up on a lot of work, a lot of reading. I did score more Ghost Rider comics today, and the book that has my heart right now is I picked up the Beastie Boys book, which is their like 500-page memoir, and it's amazing off the top. Like it's so inspiring, it's amazing. So yeah, check out the Beastie Boys book. I'm really excited about it.
Does each of them say like a word of the sentence after each other?
And the last word of every sentence is bold.
Yeah, it's like
all
underlined
call
3
and response
times.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. It's just filled with so many anecdotes of them being like teenage punks in like New York and like this. It's awesome. It's super funny.
Awesome. I feel like I have come back to. I played Rogue Legacy 2 basically for 3 weeks straight while I was away. So I'm just playing Cult of Lamb, Curse to Golf, Rollerdrome. Gonna keep trugging along with Saints Row and a couple of other things that are super under embargo. Actually, I could have talked about F1 Manager today a little bit. I'll talk about it next week. That's out next week. Go listen to Shift F1, I guess, if you want to hear me talk about F1 Manager, my Formula One podcast. And yeah, I'm playing some other exciting stuff that's under embargo, but I'll be able to talk about it pretty soon. But yeah, that's it. Thanks so much. Great to be back, gents. Thanks for holding down the fort. It was great to listen. It was great to sit back and just sit in a. I was doing chores in Ireland, listening to the podcast. It was a lot of fun. But glad to be back and
Yeah, good to have you back on.
We're glad to have you back.
Yeah, seriously.
The crew is full again.
the crew. We're like what, Power Rangers?
Yeah, we were like a Megazord without its head.
Yeah, Voltron.
Well, I'm like one of the feet, maybe.
You're like the
Get outta here.
strongest
You're
arm.
like literally the skull of it. What are you talking
You're the
about?
torso.
stop.
We were
You
just
can- you
rolling
can-
around a bunch of arms and legs and a head.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That
That
just
is
means
pretty
there's less talking, which is probably the case.
It's
when I'm not around as
entirely
well.
nonverbal.
Thanks all for watching or listening, and we'll see you all next time on the Noclip Podcast. Goodbye.
Goodbye.